So this past Monday night on Raw, for the first time in history, the main event for WrestleMania next year was announced uh, an entire year in advance. I'm not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing. It's a good thing that the match has been announced, and it will sell tickets, so that's positive. But in the same sense, I'm not sure whether people will be as excited about the match as they are now in a year's time. Because I think the way WWE have built matches nowadays, that to have a feud go for an entire year would be difficult for them. I think they'd struggle to keep a feud interesting for an entire year, especially with the amount of shows and the amount of pay-per-views they do. Having one Raw and one SmackDown a week is fine. That's manageable because it keeps the story going from week to week, and you've only got 2 hours, so you don't have to carry on every story every week, or you don't have to give each story loads of time. Just have maybe 5 minutes to contribute, or 30 seconds to contribute to something. Um, Elsewhere, you have what 14? I think it's 14 pay-per-views a year, which is absolutely ridiculous. I think really you should be doing about 8 pay-per-views a year, with maybe like just over one every other month, where you can have a pay-per-view like Elimination Chamber could stay. I don't like the fact that it's called Elimination Chamber. I prefer the name No Way Out. But I think there probably should be a pay per view to bridge the gap between, or I don't know, maybe bring back like Saturday night's main event and have a Saturday night's main event there. But the way they handled Saturday night's main event before, I'm not sure that's a great idea. But have a pay per view, yeah, have a pay per view to bridge the gap between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. That's fine. Um, the idea of having Rock versus Cena at Mania yeah, that's the right thing to do in terms of where you're going to present the match. Although, like I said, with the length of time between then and now, uh, I'm not convinced WWE can keep the storyline interesting and fresh for that whole period of time. So, uh, we'll see what happens. He's hoping. But if I'm doing it, I think the right time to have it happen would be SummerSlam, in terms of the distance between shows. But at the same time, if they had it at SummerSlam, SummerSlam would they built something at Mania. You don't tend to build matches at Mania. You don't use WrestleMania to build a match at another pay per view. You use WrestleMania as the big show. WrestleMania as the climax. I mean, you can have WrestleMania rematches at SummerSlam. That's fine. That sort of thing has happened in the past. It'll keep happening. That is absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with them having SummerSlam rematches at WrestleMania. That is good. If anything, yeah, because then you can have that allows you to maybe refresh a storyline, where you can have somebody who lost at WrestleMania come back, get the win at SummerSlam, and then you can have like a final match later on in the feud. I think they did that sort of thing with Randy Orton and the Undertaker. They had Undertaker go over Orton at WrestleMania 21, and they had Orton go over Undertaker at SummerSlam 2005. 2005. They had Orton go over. Then I can't remember what exactly, whether they had two or one, but I remember there was a casket match, and Undertaker got set on fire, and then he came back at Survivor Series, and then he beat Randy Orton in a Hell in a Cell match. So that was all well and good. I think, like I said, I think that would have been the right sort of time, but you can't have WrestleMania to set a match up for SummerSlam at WrestleMania. Not in the way they would have done that. I mean, you know, the other way, you can use SummerSlam to set up a WrestleMania match, but you can't use WrestleMania to set up a SummerSlam match, because, like I said, WrestleMania is supposed to be where you have your biggest match, and Rock Cena is a huge match, so they shouldn't be having it at they shouldn't be having it at SummerSlam. Anyway, that I'm happy the match is happening because I had a feeling that it would happen. I don't know. I was the way it was built. I had the feeling that something would happen. I just didn't expect the match. So I'm glad the match has been signed for that reason. The fact that it's at WrestleMania in Miami, Rock's hometown, yada yada yada. That's all. That's fine. That's good. That it's a year away is it's bad because it's you've got that all that time for WWE to fuck it up, and that's what WWE does. It's what WWE does best. They don't know how to carry storylines for that long. I mean, they used to. They used to be fine with it, but not anymore. There's another thing I wanted to touch on because that whole Rock and Cena thing. Apparently, this is what I've heard. Apparently, the whole Rock Cena thing was last minute, and they had to do a complete last minute rewrite of Raw because originally what they were going to do, they were going to have Triple H versus Undertaker at SummerSlam. So they'd have a rematch, and Triple H would probably go over there. And they were planning to have Undertaker versus John Cena at WrestleMania 28. I'm not sure how I feel about this. You see, because I personally, I'd say probably my favourite John Cena match ever was, in fact, his match with The Undertaker at Vengeance 2003. So I've always wanted to see them have. I mean, they've had matches. They had a match on Raw. I think it was on a draft show actually, and they had a match when Undertaker was under. When Cena was US champion and Undertaker was under Paul Heyman's control, when the Dudley stole the urn and everything, and kidnapped Colbera. So I'd like to see them face off again, and I think John Cena is probably the last guy that Undertaker hasn't really done a big WrestleMania match with, and I think they're about due. But I honestly think that if you're gonna do that, that you have to turn Cena heel. I don't think there are many people that that aren't necessarily going to be the direct fan favorites against John Cena. I mean, because you've got the kid audience. I mean, a lot of the youth of WWE, the youth fans, the young fans, are John Cena fans. I think a lot of them are also Undertaker fans. I think a lot of WWE fans. I think Undertaker is probably one of the, if not the most over wrestler in the company. Although Triple H is close. I don't get it with Triple H. I'm not a Triple H fan, but that's not neither here nor there. But I'm not sure whether because I really don't want to see Triple H versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 28, which I kind of have a feeling they might do now. I mean, if they were going to have like Triple H versus Undertaker at SummerSlam, I'm fine with. I'm fine with that. Triple H is no Shawn Michaels. He will never be Shawn Michaels. He will never be close to being Shawn Michaels. So I wouldn't want to see two WrestleMania. I mean, facing him 3 times at WrestleMania would be beyond a joke because they faced off at 17, and I actually thought their match at 17 was better than their match at 27 because the 27 match was it was probably the best match of the night, but I still didn't like it because not because I don't like Triple H, but because of the way I think the way Undertaker was portrayed and the speed of the match. I mean, it was okay for maybe 10-15 minutes, and then when after Undertaker hit the first choke slam, and just there was such big pauses between the pins, and I'm like, no, if you want to build towards a big finish or a finish of a big match, you want to have near fall, and you want to have them get up, and then you want to have them have like I don't necessarily mean like just bang choke slam 1 2 kick out, get up. But I mean, like you want the falls to be within a couple of minutes, within like maybe 2 3 minutes of each other, because it builds and builds, and then you sort of slowly close the gap between the falls, or you like build towards a big finish, like a Undertaker choke slam, tombstone, or whatever, multiple big moves. I just I think there was maybe 5 10 like maybe 5 minutes, maybe longer between falls, and it just felt really sloppy and slow, and I didn't like that finish at all. And I didn't like the way that I mean, the one of the best moments of that match for me was the tombstone, when Triple H did the tombstone to the Undertaker, because it was just one of those moments where I think every fan who was watching at home and who was in the arena all simultaneously went, shit. No! No! One, two, he's done! Oh! It was just one of those moments. And it was like I remember seeing it, and I was like, holy shit, is he gonna lose? And then I was like, oh, God. But it was one of those sort of moments. So I think I like that. That was one of the few things, one of the things I liked about the match. But I didn't like the match in general. I think part of knowing Undertaker, well, expecting Undertaker to go over, even though I had a bad feeling that Triple H might put himself over, I expected Undertaker to win to an extent, but I wasn't 100% convinced. Um, them having a rematch at SummerSlam would be fine, but I don't want them to have another match at WrestleMania. I love the idea of Cena versus Taker at WrestleMania. I don't think they would do it at a SummerSlam. I think it would have to be a Mania match, and I'm not sure that Taker will go past WrestleMania 28. I think that it might be 20-0 and out, or really. And I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna give my opinion on the streak. I have no problem with the streak, um, because of the character. I think you can't give it to many other sort of characters, but because he's the dead man and he's the Undertaker, he's supposed to be superhuman and all of that sort of stuff. I think the streak works. It adds a bit of mystique about him. Like maybe he has to put in everything at WrestleMania. He has to go that extra mile. He has to push himself that little bit further just to get the victory at SummerSlam. And I think they proved it in that match, because I think he was legitimately messed up. I don't think I remember being really pissed off because of the way they seemed, because I thought they were trying to sell something. But I actually think, after having watched it back again, I genuinely think Undertaker was seriously messed up after that. Well, hopefully he's not, but who knows? I I think I probably, no offense to The Rock, because I love The Rock. I love the fact that he came back. I love the fact that he was at WrestleMania, because he added something to that show and he made that show better than it could have been. I love the finish to the main event. I don't care what anybody else says. I do not have a problem with there being a screwy finish to a WrestleMania main event, because the right guy went over and the storyline was progressed. Maybe it should have been climaxed, but I'd rather see the storyline progress than have the Miz go over than have had The Rock end the storyline by turning and being like, oh, Cena, we're really buddies, really best buddies, and all that crap, which I have a massive problem with. I would have had a massive problem with that. So there's that, and at least they didn't do that. I would have I'd like to see The Rock back in the ring, but I'd like to see John Cena versus The Rock. But I think I want to see John Cena versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania a little bit more. That's no offense to The Rock, but I just. Although, if I'm being honest about it, take John Cena out of the equation, you can have Undertaker versus The Rock at WrestleMania. That that is something I would love to see. Because I mean, I know they've had some great matches in the past, but having Undertaker and Rock at WrestleMania, come on, you can't. Oh, that match is. Oh, that match would be gold. That match would be absolutely great. I I'm a big Undertaker fan. I'm a big Rock fan. I prefer them both. I think they're both better than John Cena. But I started watching wrestling about 11 years ago now. SummerSlam 2000 was my first ever WWF at the time pay per view, and I still hold it high in high regard. It is probably one of the best pay per views they've ever done. I mean, you had the first TLC match. You had Chris Jericho versus Benoit 2 out of 3 falls. You had Rock versus Angle versus Triple H. You had a good brawl between Undertaker and Kane. Uh, there were a few. There was something else decent in there that I can't recall right now. Who cares? That's neither here or there anyway. So I I if I had the choice between seeing Triple H versus Undertaker, I think seeing Triple H and Undertaker at SummerSlam and then John Cena versus Undertaker at WrestleMania would be better than seeing The Rock versus John Cena at WrestleMania and Triple H versus Undertaker Part 3 at WrestleMania, because I have a feeling that Part 3 would be. Well, we know there's only ever been one time that there's been a part 3 at WrestleMania, and that was Austin Rock, and that was fine because the Rock just had to go over in that last match. He hadn't gone over Austin, and it just felt wrong. And I quite like that match, and I quite like that heel Rock. And it was the only time they ever faced each other well, Austin's never faced Rock as a heel. I mean, he came out of that match, the WrestleMania 17 match, as a heel. So I think, yeah, I think that there was, I think the first time Austin won, the second time Austin won and then turned heel, and the third time Rock came in. I think it came full circle. So you had Austin win as a face, Austin win as a face, then turn heel. Well, Austin turned heel in the process of winning, and then you had the Rock heel win. So I like, yeah, I think that came full circle. But I don't like the idea of Triple H going over Undertaker at all. Undertaker turning heel. That would be bad. And just Undertaker doesn't work as a heel. Undertaker is a face. He's built to be a face. He's just. I know the character's dark, but his character is built to sell. His character isn't built to be booed. His character is built to be cheered. And no matter how dark he gets, maybe years ago, but it's been built to be such a phenomenon that it's such a big deal in WWE that he's such a marquee name that if fans started booing him, then I think you'd lose a lot. You'd lose a lot in the product. People don't want to boo Undertaker. People don't want to boo. People don't want to boo the veterans, the guys that have been there the longest. The Triple H's, the Undertakers. They don't want to boo those guys because they've been there for so long. Because they epitomise WWE to a certain degree. But as far as the Rock Cena goes, I'm optimistic. Whilst it might not be the match of the two options that I would have preferred, I'm optimistic. I'm looking forward to seeing Rock Cena. Hopefully, I'll be there at WrestleMania 28. 28? Yeah, 28. Hopefully, I'll be there and I'll get to see the match in person, which would be great. I really hope I get to go because it's in Florida. Crying out loud, Florida. Get to go on holiday to Florida to see WrestleMania. Talk about a wrestling fan's dream. But yeah, I'm quietly confident that WWE can carry this off. I think they can. I'm not sure if they will, but I think they can. So here's hoping. Well, good luck to them in the process, because carrying a storyline for a year in this day and age is difficult enough. The way WWE books it, it could be royally fucked. So yeah, I'm out. Do feel free to rate, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think. And I'm out.